Welcome to Holding Little Child to the Joy of God.
So today we are going to tell you about a bunch of books that we liked with our last book haul. We are going to give you a big stack of books, and this isn't even all the books we got. But we had lots of books we enjoyed. So the first one was one of Uriah's favorites, A Farm Through Time it's a book by DK.com. But anyway, it has a history of a farm. And on each page, sorry, that's kind of the end one. But on most of the pages, which I can't turn to right now, there's a flap. So it shows what's going on outside the farm and then inside. And it goes all the way from 800 up to 2000 and how they would have done different farming methods and stuff.
And then this one is like that also.
This one's like that also. Oops, sorry. The Story of a Farm, John S. Goodall. Didn't mean to hit you. That last one has lots of words, tells you what's going on. This one is a picture book, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have any words.
Except for in the front.
In the front, it tells you a little bit, but then it shows you this is what was happening at the farm fair. It has little flaps. You guys like that, right? We got a bunch of,
like this.
You'll notice how I get books for, how I get books for nonfiction is I go in the nonfiction section and I think of something they might be interested in that week, and I get a bunch of books on that topic. So, like this week, you'll see many farm books. Okay, another set of books we like. These are the Little House on the Prairie, my first Little House books. And this one is Winter Days in the Big Woods. And it's short stories that are from the actual books themselves, but it's just at a little kid's, it's just like 3 or 4 sentences per page. And then it's got a picture that goes with it. Maybe more like 8 sentences depending on the page. But it just is a picture book of the Little House on the Prairie books. The kids have been very interested in Titanic. When we went to the homeschool conference in Tennessee, the Titanic Museum from Pigeon Forge was there, and so the kids learned a little bit about Titanic. They've been interested, so I got this book. It just had a lot of cool pictures and facts from it.
We have a toy Titanic. Like that.
We do have a toy Titanic. Do you want to go get the toy Titanic? Oh, okay. But there's lots of facts in here. And with having,
right here.
with having lots of kids of different ages, when I get that book, this little guy might want to just thumb through it, where Uriah's going to learn a little bit more facts, and Samuel's going to read the whole thing. So each one's different. On to some board books. What?
Read it.
Uriah was reading it. So this is just some of the picture books we like. A to Z by Sandra Boynton. It just, each letter is funny for, so a turkey tripping, a kissing kangaroo, just a cute little book.
Tiny Town I Am a Fireman is just like talking about a fireman.
So my dad, when I was growing up, was a volunteer firefighter, and he was also a dispatcher for the town. And so the kids hear stories about Grandpa being a firefighter. So they are really interested in firefighters and police and all of those things.
And then this is one of our baby's favorite ones.
It is Duck and Goose. We originally got one by accident a couple weeks ago. So then I found these ones. So the Find a Pumpkin and Goose Needs a Hug are both very cute. The Find a Pumpkin.
And Dr. Goose.
So this one is not my favorite. They have a friend Thistle who likes to outdo everybody, and he's just kind of annoying. But these two, this was the baby's favorite this week, and he would sit here, and it says they're looking for the pumpkin. Did they find it in the log? No. Did they find it in the whatever? And so he'd go, no, 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 and it was very cute. So these are Duck and Goose by Tad Hills is the name. There's a bunch of them.
Curious George is fun also.
Yeah, this is a board book of one of the Curious George books, but it's about the puppies.
They find a lost kitten, so they bring it to the animal shelter, and then they see more animals, and then they Curious George opens all the puppies out, and then they find a missing puppy that they.
There was a puppy that was missing in the shelter, and they found it, right?
Yeah.
So George takes it home.
And then George takes one of them home.
Okay.
And then this is another.
Why am I sitting here? Are you going to do the entire book review?
No.
Another one of the Little House books.
And then Fire Trucks is just about fire trucks. And they couldn't go tomorrow, so they just sent a rocket with like a little troll that they saw some of Mo's stuff. But then the battery ran out and it was up there for like lots of years.
Right. Okay.
And this is fun. It's just talking about my daddy and me, and it is just two dogs, and they play together.
He plays with his daddy.
And then
That's a cute one, right?
And then Lighthouse Dog to the rescue.
Okay, so Lighthouse Dog. So some of these books they put in the pile because they really like them. I want to recommend this one, Lighthouse Dog to the Rescue, especially if you're from Maine. This lighthouse, it's a true story. This lighthouse, Owl's Head, it's really close to us. So if you ever want to come down and check out this lighthouse, let us know and we'll meet you there. So it's by Angeli Perot. Go ahead.
It's about a dog that he sees fog, so the light they do, and then they ring the bell, and so then the dog rang the bell, and there was a boat. So the boat did its whistle, and then it kept doing that every time it passed, and the dog would ring the bell. But then one time it was in a storm, and then the
light wasn't working, right?
The bell was frozen, and so they find the boat going back to the home.
Good. Hold on just a second. Let me explain the rest of this. So the light wasn't working because of this bad storm. They couldn't see. It was too frozen. And the bell wasn't working. And so the dog, who had been always calling out to the ships by barking, calls out to a ship, and the ship knows where he is and is able to get home safely. Okay, hold on. Abigail's going to do a book. Abigail's going to do a book.
Okay, this one is called Annie's Shabbat. It's about a Jewish family, and one of them is Annie, and she's just telling about what they did before Shabbat and after Shabbat and during Shabbat.
So we, if you're new to our channel, we are a Christian family, but through reading the Bible, you read about a lot of the Jewish traditions and all of that. And so it's just interesting to see what of those Jewish traditions have come to today and how do they celebrate them today. So we were just learning. We have a couple books about those different things.
By
Sarah Marwill Lamstein.
And then this one is the little sip. It's about a person with a sip that has to go rescue some soldiers.
So this is the heroic rescue at Dunkirk in World War II. So it's about going to rescue those, and so it's based on a true story. Hold on, wait, she gets a turn.
Okay.
This one, it's about this family that goes and they spend the summers in their pink house by the seashore in, I think it was Florida or something.
You keep talking, let's see.
And then one time there was a tornado and their house was blown down. So then the next summer they went back and they brought a tent as a make-believe house.
So I can't find quickly where it happened or whatever, but I didn't actually, so some of these books I get and I do a quick look through, but I don't read the book specifically. An older kid will, or one of the little kids will read it to themselves. So this book I did not specifically read, but I do know it's about a family who their house got ruined, and so going back to the place that they had made so many memories, and how do you make new memories in a place where those things were ruined for you.
And then there was Curious George's birthday surprise. It's just Curious George's birthday, and then he doesn't know that, so he makes a surprise for his birthday. And then
Hold on, wait, my turn. Mommy's turn. Okay, so this was my favorite book in the bunch. It's called Josie's Gift by Kathleen Long Bostrom, and it was one of those I just pulled off the shelf. So it's about Christmas, but we don't celebrate a traditional Christmas. So we don't do a bunch of gift giving. We don't do Santa Claus. Samuel's over here pretending to make crying faces. We don't do Santa Claus. We don't do a Christmas tree, any of those things. But I still think this book is very worth reading. So Josie, this is back during the Depression, I think.
Yes.
And Josie's dad had passed away, and so this is her first Christmas since dad died. And her dad every year would add a new animal to the nativity set and talked about how Christmas isn't about what we get, but about realizing what we have.
But then she wants a sweater. But then one time she goes down for the Christmas present and it was a sweater. But then she goes out to the barn where she is trying to go. But then she sees people in the barn and one of them has a baby.
There's a little baby, mom and dad and baby in their barn. And she gives her sweater to the mama to wrap the baby in.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh.
Those aren't ours.
This one.
Okay, so did you want to say something about these or do you just want me to say?
It's fun.
So that Wolf the Saxon is about the Normans and Saxons fighting in the early days of England. And then A Knight of the White Cross is the Knights of St. John. He fought the pirates.
So Samuel's talking from off camera, but these are both G.A. Henty books. You can see they are both very large, lots of words, and Samuel loves these books. They are historic fiction, and so he really likes those. He got multiple books this time. These he reads very quickly, so it's hard to keep him in books.
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell this book.
Okay, this is Who Would Like a Christmas Tree? So it's like Who Would Like a Christmas Tree in February.
Are you okay?
And so the field mice, and then it talks about like other things and like.
So it's talking about an evergreen tree, and it goes through the different animals that would use the evergreen tree throughout the year and what they would use it for.
And one is monarch, and that is fun also.
So
last one.
it talks about the real animals that would use it during the year, and then at
And
the
the
end.
last one is we would like a Christmas tree in December after children and their parents.
Okay, watch out. Yeah, so it goes the whole year. The Christmas tree, the evergreen tree, is good for a lot of things throughout the year, not just a Christmas tree in our house in Christmas time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good for lots of animals.
What's in my favorite?
This was your favorite? Hold on, which book was this? Treasure by Suzanne Bloom. So who was going somewhere? Did the polar bear and the goose go to look for a treasure?
Yeah.
What was the treasure? Do you remember?
He said that he was a treasure.
He did. They were saying that being together, being friends was the treasure. That's what they found at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then? Oh, no.
Hold on, I'm going to explain this one. Okay, this book got picked up by the kids. It's called Do Not Lick This Book. It's very weird. It's, okay, touch your tongue and then stick it into this book, and now take that and stick it onto your cheek. And it talks about microbes and germs, but you're actually spreading germs through the book. It's weird. Okay, hold on. Wait.
Okay.
Abigail's turn.
This one is Goodbye, Charles Lindbergh by
Charles Lindbergh. It's based on a true story by Louise Borden.
And it's about this boy who is doing errands for his mother. And then he sees the plane come down, and Charles Lindbergh was in it. And it's just one of his parents are there, and he stays under the wing of it that night. And then there's a storm, so he goes up and he has everyone push the plane off.
Yeah, so it's based on a true story about meeting Charles Lindbergh.
And then this is the house on the roof. It's just a man that makes a house on the roof, and then he brings the grandchildren, and then the owner of the building says they can't build on the roof. Mm-hmm. So then they just go down and don't take the house off the roof because.
So why did they want a house on the roof? What was this about?
Because.
Do you remember why they were building a house on the roof?
No.
Hold on. It was for Sukkot, however you say that. But again, we were reading about some Jewish holidays. And so people still, for remembering about being in the wilderness when God brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, and they were in the wilderness for 40 years, they still celebrate by making temporary houses and living in them for a week. And so this is a story about the city.
This one is Prairie School by
Avi.
And it's about this kid and his aunt comes, and he learns to read, and he wheels his aunt around, and he reads what the different flowers are and stuff.
Why does he wheel her around?
Because she has to go in a wheelchair.
Right. That's an important part. He doesn't just like wheel her around for no reason. Okay, so if you're from Maine, another one, Andre, the famous harbor seal. This is an actual story. This seal lived in the Rockport area, which is 2 towns over from us, in the 60s and 70s. And he wintered out in the water and would come back in the summer and actually perform tricks for the people who were there. He became friends with the harbor master, and he ended up, they put him in the aquarium in Boston in the winters to keep him safe, and then he would swim back to Maine in the summers and perform for them. So if you're from this area, like if you're from Maine, again, this is a really good book because it's actual history of the area. And if you come to Rockport to see the statue, which is built about Andre, we went and visited it a couple weeks ago with friends. So let us know. Penny, the Forgotten Coin. It just talks about penny and the history of a penny and what you used to be able to buy with a penny, how pennies have changed over the years. Ugh. Another of the Little House books. This one's about Almanzo. Antlers Forever was a cute book we picked up. If you're from Maine, you know we have moose here, and the little moose is losing his horns, and he thinks it's a really bad thing, but the big moose tells him his horns will grow back, and it's kind of like for a little kid losing a tooth, that their tooth will come back and they don't have to be scared of it.
Moose put lot his antlers off.
Yeah. This book was just one I happened to pick up, but I really liked it. It's called Animals Around the World, but it just shows animals. You look for different things in the pictures, but it's a board book, so it's really sturdy for the little ones. But that was a fun accident to pick up. We like to find short biographies about people from history. So this one about Helen Keller. I like to introduce my kids to a lot of different people from history, and if they want to study them out further, they can. So this was just a little picture book. This one, How Do You Get There, is the author from Curious George, but it asks some questions about if you're going to this place, how do you get there? And then there's a tab to pull out to show the picture. Crab Cake was one that Malachi picked up. So everybody does their things in the ocean, and the crab bakes cakes, and there's a problem at the bottom of the ocean, but it's all solved because crab bakes some cakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those Shoes by Maribeth Bowles. It's about a little boy who's really wanting a pair of shoes, but his grandma says they really can't afford them. He ends up getting the shoes, but they're too tight. They find a pair that's cheaper. They're too tight, and he just wants to wear them just because it's the cool thing to do. But he realizes his friend needs a pair of shoes, and he gives them to his friend. And it's just a book about sharing and giving of what you have. Oh. Okay, I saw it in the garden. Did you like that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this one talks about just what you're going to find in the garden at different times. It's kind of written as a poem. Okay, this book was really cool. If you've ever read any books by David McCulley, he does stuff about like castles and monasteries and all kinds of different things. But this book is How Machines Work. And so the front of the book is actually gears that make the sloth move. And it's all about a zoo break and how to get animals out of the zoo. And there's actual like pages to take out to make a catapult and stuff. It's very interesting. Can you make sure all the pieces are in here? Okay. We're about to go to the library, that's why. We don't need to do that one. Up in the Leaves. This is about a little boy who climbed up in the trees in New York City and wanted to build some tree houses. So he kept building, and they kept tearing him down, and he kept building and tearing him down. And he ended up becoming an architect. So that's a true story. Okay, Abigail, these books are for you to talk about. Right? You liked these ones?
All of these were about sled dogs, and
They're all by Robert J. Blake.
all these are about sled dogs going in races, and just different ones are about different sled dogs that did different things.
So these are all tales of the Iditarod. So I'm not sure, I don't know off the top of my head if these are actual true stories, but they're stories about the dogs.
I think they are all true stories.
Okay. And then the last book Uriah's going to tell you about, Firefighter Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so they are trying to make the Thanksgiving, but then they don't have enough stuff to make it. But then they get calls, and then in the last call, Lou gets one of the firefighters, and then they get some people from town and some people from town give them some stuff for Thanksgiving.
So they're trying to have their Thanksgiving meal, the firefighters, and they keep getting called out, so they can't make it. So the town comes together and wishes Lou good health, right? Because Lou got hurt, and brings them a Thanksgiving dinner. So that's part of our books that we have that we're taking back to the library. We're going to take all our books back to the library. Thank you for joining us on this haul, and we will see you guys next time at Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.